Hi, welcome back. This exercise, we are going to work with communication with our animal. And there can be two parts to this. So if you don't feel quite ready to have an imaginary conversation with your animal and your animal medicine, the other thing that I would advise you to do or suggest that you do is go to Google, type in the name of your animal with animal totem meaning, animal medicine, spirit meaning. So, like giraffe spirit meaning, giraffe animal guide meaning giraffe animal totem. And then it'll pull up some websites that have information if you don't remember what your initial oracle card draw said, or if you want some more meaning, some more deepening of that meaning. That is one way that you can get words. And if you go the Google route, what I want you to do is take note of the words that jump out at you. For instance, my search was for giraffe, and I pasted this description in the lesson. So when I read through giraffe's description, the words that pop out to me, and I have a piece of paper, a background ready to write these words down on. You can also start with a blank piece of paper, but I'm just going to explain to you what I'm doing. So as I read through the giraffe's description, I get reveal secrets. So I am going to write with something that actually writes. I'm going to write down reveal secrets on my page. So I just wrote it, can't really read it, that's okay, the energy's still there. So reveal secrets stands out to me. Let's see, eyes, the word eyes stands out. So with a different oil pastel, I'm writing eye. I'm picking up my chalk pastel as I read more. Symbolic narrative. Sticking our necks out, messenger. Messenger is huge. So I'm going to write messenger down on my paper. Messenger. Giraffe makes an appearance when we need a reminder that we have remarkable potential. So I'm going to write down potential because that's another word. And again, this doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be, laid out appropriately. I'm just getting the energy of these words onto my paper, canvas, board, cardboard. As I read through further, vision with the long neck. Vision jumps out in the description. And visionary. So then I'm going to append to vision, A-R-Y. So I've got visionary. And then symbolic meanings for the giraffe, these words that popped out. Vision, beauty, mystery, patience. Patience is a big one for me. That one's jumping out. And just notice what words you're drawn to. Again, don't think. I want you to scan, if you're reading a description of a meaning for your animal's wisdom, I want you to scan and notice what words immediately jump out. And those are the words that resonate with you. Not thinking about it, not forcing anything. We are acknowledging the wisdom that we already have internally. We are acknowledging the connection that we are making between our own resonance and the resonance of these particular words. So that's why we're capturing them and harnessing their energy by putting them physically on our paper, canvas, cardboard, etc. Another word that jumps out to me is intuition. Clever jumps out. And let's see, gentle demeanor, higher ground. It's not, those are powerful words, but they're not really resonating with me, which is why I'm not taking them and putting them onto my paper. Strategy, gaining resources, mazes and labyrinths of change. So let's see. I'm actually going to use paint, and I'm going to use the back of another piece of paper as my palette. So I want to write down labyrinth, which is interesting, with a brush. All right, and I'm just writing it kind of over all these other words. Lab. H out of the end of the T. All right, so I've got labyrinth. Labyrinth of change, and that's the last word I feel compelled to put on here is change. So I'm going to use some yellow paint because I feel drawn to. I'm using the same brush, so it might even get. And I am feeling compelled to switch my paper upside down. CHANGE. Change. So I've got change. So those all feel really good to me, all of these words that I resonate with. Now, another part of the exercise, which you can do in addition or substitute for the looking up your animal wisdom meaning, is to sit down and have a chat with your animal medicine. So you'd want to sit down just like you're going to do any kind of meditation in some kind of quiet space where you're centering yourself. My favorite current centering exercise is to imagine a vortex of energy coming down from the sun and going through my body and reaching to the center of the earth. And then a vortex of energy from the center of the earth coming up through my lower chakras, out through my crown, and reaching up to the sun. So they're like two vortices that are coming together and swirling in the middle right where I am. So I'm kind of encased in this swirling energy and fueled by that. So that is my current favorite way of kind of centering and grounding. Use whatever you like. And then I sit down either with a pencil and paper or my computer, and I open up a notes application just so that I can type. I personally prefer typing because for me, when I'm writing, although you have that physical energy, coming through your body, when I'm writing, I tend to second guess what I'm writing very often. And what I find is when I'm typing, I can type fast enough that I just get it all down and I don't stop to second guess the words that I'm typing. Whereas when I'm writing and I write slowly, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to write that. I don't know if that sounds right. I get too much in my head. So use whatever preferred method of communication and conversation works for you. When I sat down, and I posted this in the lesson, I'm just going to read it out to you. My short and sweet conversation with Giraffe went. I typed out, "Dear Giraffe, what medicine do you have to share with me for this next part of my journey?" And what I received back, and all I did was imagine that I was in my imagination talking to a giraffe, and the giraffe in my imagination said to me, "You're reaching out, you're stretching, you're supported in becoming more visible and taking your time to create the space you need to be successful in the way you desire to be." And then I said, "Okay, so how can I connect better with you?" And the giraffe in my imagination that I imagined talking to me said, "Creating this course was the first step. You've already deepened your connection by creating and participating in all of these energies and exercises you're bringing through." Meaning I was inspired to create this course for you all. And in creating the course, in going through each of these exercises myself as I am creating them for you, I'm deepening the energy with my own spirit animal. So Giraffe continued to say, "Continue that, deepen that. Take the advice you give your students. Keep your work and be ready to layer more energy and artwork on top of each piece as your understanding of my wisdom deepens." And I mentioned this in a couple more of the lessons. So all of the artwork I'm creating, I am keeping. And as I feel compelled, as more wisdom comes through, as new ideas and insights come through, I may be suddenly inspired to add something more to a piece. Like right now, as I was flipping by this piece, I feel the need to write a word on here. What do I feel a need to write? I feel a need to write courage. So I'm going to write courage at the top. So this is something that Giraffe is communicating to me, which I am living through example. You never know what you might want to add. All right, so once I've had my conversation, then you can either take bits of that conversation and literally write them long form on your paper. Now, if I wanted to write out, you are reaching You are reaching. You are reaching. If I wanted to write you are supported, I'm going to write that down here. And I could even use my paper to have my conversation in the first place. Instead of typing it and then transcribing it or transcribing pieces, you could just literally write out, dear giraffe, dear tiger, dear horse, what medicine are you sharing with me right now? What strength can I get from you right now? How can I collaborate with you right now? You can have your conversation and then paint over it or paint around it or whatever you feel compelled to do. So this was my background. I have all my words. I put little pieces of my conversation. And from here, I'm just going to create. And as always, I will talk you through what I'm doing. But this is not so much about adding. We're gonna add some more. All right. So quick change of course, intuitively in the moment, which is how I receive my information. In order to deepen this wisdom, we're creating art on top. One thing you can do is to take one of your previous pieces of artwork and to literally paste it on to your new artwork. So I like this little guy, and I am going to add this little guy to my page. So I've got my gel medium. I'm just squeezing some out of my finger, and I'm just going to spread it on my page. And this is a way we can kind of bring it all together. We've got our conversation, we've got our words, we've got our meaning, and I'm being careful about spreading this on top because I did use chalk pastel, which is water soluble, which means, you know, when I spread my gel medium, if I spread my gel medium straight over the top of it, it's going to smear the whole thing, which is fine if you feel inspired to go that way. It's going to have a cool effect. However, I'm just smearing around the edges and wiping off the rest of that medium. So now, not only do I have the leftover paint from previous exercises, my new words, some phrases from the conversation that I had with Giraffe, and I've also added a piece of the artwork that I've already done in this series of exercises. So I'm going to move you down here, and then all I'm going to do is go where I feel inspired. So I actually do feel inspired to add some yellow to my little guy, to my little giraffe. Oh, little giraffe. And I don't want to lose all of him, so I'm being very kind of careful where I do that and smear. Okay, so I've got my little guy. And I feel compelled to, again, I'm just using this piece of paper for a palette. And I'm just going to, I feel compelled to use this color. So I'm just adding. And this can be as intuitive. I mean, the goal is to make this an intuitive process, to tune into what brings you joy and what is fascinating in the moment. Without a plan, you don't need to plan out how you're going to create this art. I am totally, when I first started filming this exercise just a few minutes ago, I wasn't even going to glue one of my drawings, rip up one of my drawings and glue him on here, but that's the way the energy wanted to go, so that's how I adapt in the moment, is by allowing that flow. So I've kind of got this guy in here, and I'm going to make his neck longer because I can. And I feel like I need some more red pastel in there because I'm just going to scribble that in there because got my yellow. I got one color on one finger, one color on the other finger, so that's how I'm avoiding getting things too muddy and blended. And then I've got my blue over here. So all of this energy combines over time with layers, with new intentions, with new wisdom. It's not just paint and art. It is also an energetic symbol. The way so many crystals can be coded, so many crystals have their own wisdom. So this is becoming like your own amplifier of your energy and the energy that is here to move you forward in your life right now. So, all right, now I feel inspired to just kind of take this yellow, make some marks with it. And again, you can go as far with this as you like. I want to give him some space. And then I also feel compelled to pick up my water brush, which I have filled with ink. Just getting enough ink out of there. And then to kind of, now I want to look at my paper because now I actually want to refer to this little guy here. This little guy, little guy. Got my ink. This is all water soluble, so it's totally. Just adding some more definition and contrast in there. Got his little mouth here. I'm just adding a little more shading. Just what I feel, drawn to do. There are no rules here. But I do want to use this purple to make some spots. So, All right, he's got his eyelashes. Is that another ear? It's kind of another eye. All right, so now I'm just gonna clean off my brush here by smearing that around. I'm gonna take a little bit of that ink and just add some of that color around here, or grab my ink pen, just kind of my water brush with the ink, make some dots. And we've got this loveliness here. Again, I've got to wash, don't want the acrylic to dry on my brush. And then I'm just feeling around again what I feel compelled to do. I've got my little oil pastel. Just making kind of an eye. Let me grab my Sharpie, and that didn't work so well. That's when intuition sometimes gets foiled. So I'm coming back here with my eye. And I'm just going to kind of leave this more abstract, instead of trying to get a certain effect. It's my giraffe. All right. He's got spots. And I want some more yellow on top here. So this is a technique I learned from Juliet Crane, just like putting a little paint on your finger and then just tapping it. Tapping. So I know what this is. I know this is my giraffe. I know who it is. I know he's my little giraffe. Okay, so from here, this is where I am going to stop. Partially because I want to let this dry, but also partially because I just want you to get the feel of how abstract, how intuitive this can be, and how flexible, and how deep and powerful this wisdom can be. Like I mentioned, I've got words that I felt compelled to write down from the description. I've got leftover paint from the other projects where I was also tapping into my giraffe energy. I've got the actual drawing from one of the exercises, which I ripped out and pasted on here and then added paint on top of. So it is really, I mean, there's just so much flexibility in this, and now I'm feeling compelled to rip out my other little giraffe and to add him. Yeah, I feel like adding him. So I'm actually going to add my other giraffe. But I will do that when the paint is dry. So you get the idea. Go have fun. I can't wait to see what you create. And remember, this is a process. And you can do this for any animal. You can follow these processes for any animal. You know, an animal that comes through for a specific project you're working on. You can work with animal medicine for, you know, an upcoming transformation in your life, for your vision board, you know, to support all your vision board goals. There are so many ways that you can incorporate animal medicine into your life, and I am really excited that I could share so many of these processes with you to get that energy from the ethers into 3D reality where it can make a big difference. Thanks for joining me.